Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Socorro, Texas. It is May 16th, 2023, 5:33 p.m. We call this meeting to order.
Good afternoon. Item number 2, establishment of quorum. Andrew Arroyos,
Here.
Enrique Cisneros, absent. David Estrada,
Here.
Julie Dominguez,
Here.
Osvaldo Reza, absent. Maria Martinez.
Here.
Ms. Martinez, if you could please turn on your camera and be
Your name.
unmuted. Thank you.
Right.
We have a quorum with 3 commissioners present, 1 via Zoom. Item number 3, notice to the public, open forum. Lisbeth, do we have anyone that would like to speak?
We have Mr. Fernie Salcido.
Thank you. Item number 4, consent agenda. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Fernie Salcido. I'm a resident of the city of Socorro. And I'm here just to point out a couple of items that I see pretty frequently that are happening in the area, in the community. The 18-wheelers. We seem to have a problem with 18-wheelers in our residential areas. We have ordinances. I need to know who's doing the enforcing of this violation. We have several 18-wheelers that are being parked on FM 76, block 10,000, 11,000, and 12,000 block of North Loop. It just seems to be growing. There's no enforcement being done, and the problem is just being magnified 10 times over because there's no enforcement of these type of vehicles that are being parked. The actual tractors are being removed and the trailers are being left on the side of the road through the weekend. We have a lot of car haulers that are doing this. We also have the large vans that are being backed up back to back and using this easement and causing a hazardous condition for the drivers in our community. I'd like for you to make note of that. And if and when we do have a lot of the changes to the residential areas that are trying to bring in their 18-wheelers, I don't think that we need to do that, not in the residential areas. There are other areas in which they can park their vehicles, and if they have to commute and have someone pick them up at midnight, that's their chosen profession. That's what's part of the job. We all do what we have to do to get by, and I don't think that that's an excuse to let those individuals park their 18-wheelers in their residence, even if it is a 10,000 square foot lot. That should not be happening. Our roadways are being deteriorated. We don't have any curbing on our roadways. At whose cost is this coming to? The taxpayers, everyone here in this room. So I just make you mindful of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else? No? Okay. Item number 4, consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion made by Julie Dominguez to approve and second by Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Motion carried. Regular agenda discussion and action. Item number 5, public hearing request for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Block 2, Lot 1, Sombras de Piro subdivision located at 566 Buford Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow for a parking area. Mr. Arroyos?
Afternoon, we open public hearing at 5:38.
Danny Sanchez?
Mr. Sanchez, could you please come back?
Mr. Sanchez, you have 3 minutes.
My name is Danny Sanchez. I'm a resident of Socorro, city of Socorro, and I live right across the street from where this is gonna take place. It's a parking lot. What I wanna know is why they made a drainage right across the street from my house. And I wanna know where the entrance to that parking lot is gonna be. And if somebody's gonna close it down when it's not when it's not in business, who's gonna maintain that parking lot that not anybody can get on it and have a party there? Buford is a small, narrow road, and it's very heavily trafficked, and cars pass through it pretty heavy. The last thing I would want is for an accident to occur there on Buford. If they're gonna use the entrance on Buford, I don't think that could happen, because the traffic backs up all the way to the gated community on Buford just to get onto Socorro Road sometimes. So, and that's all I got. I want to know I want somebody to answer those questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Ana Sanchez? Ms. Sanchez, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Ana Sanchez. I am currently a resident adjacent to where the proposed, I guess, light commercial parking lot is planned. I do know some of the owners, Estela and Magda. I very lightly kind of know what's going to happen. It's apparently a visitor center for the city of Socorro, which I am in agreement with progress for Socorro, for our city. I do agree with that. I have concerns regarding the commercial, the C1 zoning. That is what my concern is. I've been a resident of Socorro for most of my life. I moved away for a while, came back. My parents were lifelong residents of Socorro. That is a residential area. It is now going to be turned into a commercial. And what I read about C1 zoning is that it's a wide range of retail or office or amusement or other services that it can be used for. I know that this notice indicates that it is a light commercial, but what can become in the future? So we're situated between two really busy roads. Socorro Road is almost like a highway. The cars that are going through there are, going about 50 miles an hour. Sometimes every morning when I'd get up to go to work, it would take about 20 cars before I could get onto Socorro Road from Buford. Buford has a speed limit of 35 miles an hour, but now I think I see people coming both ways from Socorro Road and the other side of Buford, and they're traveling at high rates of speed, much more than 35 miles an hour, which is about 50 miles an hour. And it's an accident waiting to happen or some kind of tragedy. Now there's going to be a parking lot. Where will the easement be? Will it cause more traffic and more concerns in our community? That's what my concern is. I'm not against progress. I believe that if our city is going to progress and anything that will be for the better of it, I'm agreeing. But this is a residential area that has two busy thoroughways. Has the city of Socorro looked at that? That is my concern, and those are my questions as well. Thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Sanchez.
Do we have anybody else? Item number 6. Oh, I'm sorry.
So with that, we will close public hearing at 5:43.
Item number 6, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's Master Plan and rezoning of Block 2, Lot 1, Sombras del Piro subdivision located at 566 Buford Road, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow for parking area. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 6 is the rezoning request of 566 Buford Road. So the summary of the request is for approval of a rezoning from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow for a parking area. Some background on this case: it is currently R1, as previously mentioned. The size of the lot is 29,534.5 square feet. The address is 566 Buford Road. The property is currently vacant, and it's located within a historic district. The proposed land use would be light commercial, in this case, the parking area with the one ponding area. And once again, the request is to approve the rezoning from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow for a parking area. The planning and zoning staff is recommending approval. So this is the location map showing the property between Socorro Road and Buford. And the zoning map showing the current designation as an R1. And these pictures showing a view towards the property from Belen Road, and looking at the property with the ponding area in the bottom from Buford Road. And the aerial image. And this is the public notice that was given to the residents within the vicinity of the property, a 200-foot radius. This is the subdivision. It was previously one lot subdivided into 2 lots. And the following is the site plan, and it is showing that there would be 2 entrances from Buford Road. And once again, the summary of the request is for approval of rezoning from R1 Single Family Residential to C1 Light Commercial to allow for a parking area. And at this time, I can answer any questions.
Just a quick question. This is one that we had a couple of weeks ago, if I remember correctly, right, for a separation of lot split?
I believe it was sometime in January, February, where the subdivision took place.
I don't have any questions, Mr. Estrada.
Yeah, parking for a business that's close by here? What's the parking for? Why do they need parking?
The parking, my understanding would be for the
business on the corner,
business on the corner.
which is if we go back to the location map, I'm sorry, the aerial, that would be the best view of the property. So at the corner of Socorro Road and Belen, toward the bottom of this picture, is a business that is pending to be opened here soon. So it would be parking for that and for the other property across the street. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Bodega Loya?
Bodega Loya.
What type of business are they going to be opening up in that white building right there?
The white building, it's going to be a wine tasting business. And crafts. But the applicants are here to answer any other questions that you might have for them in wine tasting. And then they were also in previous discussions open to possibly allowing that parking lot for other businesses that might be opening up on Socorro Road that are within walking distance. So folks who are maybe interested in walking the Mission Trail, maybe walking along the trails, arroyos, and paths along the laterals, can park there, go for a little hike, come back, walk down to a restaurant. There are several businesses that are within walking distance along the Mission Trail, so this would be a great amenity for those businesses.
Is the applicant here? The applicant like to say anything?
No.
Would,
You want to let us know who you are and what are your plans with this parking, please?
My name is Maria Estela Padilla. I'm one of the partners who own the property on the corner at 10245 Sombra de Piro, and the parking lot, the area that's proposed for parking. I'm glad to hear the questions that Mr. Sanchez had, because he brings up some good points, and we have a very definite plan for the flow of traffic. 2 entrances off of Buford, 1 from Belen, and 1 indirectly from Socorro Road, which gives access to the house that originally was part of that property, which is 10221 Socorro Road. So there are going to be various entrances. We have kept safety in mind all along as we have developed our plans, and we also have plans to give access to shuttle buses, the Mission Trail bus, and the county bus. Hopefully, we have a request also before the city for a bus stop on Belen, the little area that used to be occupied by the El Paso Electric Company. All of these efforts we've done on our own, with our own money, to try to enhance the Mission Trail. We believe in our history. We believe in what we have to offer to tourism and to the Mission Trail. And so we have taken, we have done it with great sacrifice, but we look forward to a harmonious relationship with all of our neighbors. They are near and dear to our hearts. We've grown up with the Sanchez family. We have only good faith to work from, and we would hope that as time goes and the city looks at all of our plan, that we could put together something that's beneficial for the community and for the tourists who come through there. My sister-in-law Marty has information about the plans that we have for the electric cars.
Good evening, everybody. So we are prepared to...
Can you please state your name?
Oh, my name is Marty Loya. My husband, Ralph Loya, is one of the owners as well, too. So I'm 50 of the 25%. Anyway, we are ready to equip the parking lot with whatever is required as far as the infrastructure, with lights, with security, everything to make it safe. We recognize the fact that Socorro Road is very dangerous, and we need an outlet for that as well, too. The Sanchez as well, too, have a commercial business right on Socorro Road, and I would hate for any of their customers happens trying to cross over to Socorro Road if they park on the other side of their business. So we're trying to look at everything, how we can make it safe for everyone concerned, everyone that has a business on Socorro Road. And we feel that this is a way to do that. What Ms. Padilla was mentioning is we're also looking at equipping part of the parking lot for electric facilities, for electric cars as well, too. We've been approached by the county for that, so we are looking into that as well, too.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
I just wanted to state that I'm very familiar with this area, and I completely love what the Bodega Loya has been doing with the community. They're very involved and very good people. If you do have a chance, I would go out there, but if nobody else has questions, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Do you have anything, Mr.
I
Estrada?
have a, well, you mentioned,
Sorry. Do-
yeah, I have
Since we
a-
have a motion, do we have to carry out with a motion
Wait,
or?
it hasn't been seconded, and if you want to allow Mr. Estrada to ask questions, I think we're still in discussion.
Okay, so I guess I just want clarification. We're going up for the rezoning right now. This is going up to, needs to be permitted, the whole thing. The city of Socorro needs to go out there and approve any plans or permits that they're doing out there. I'm assuming that that's gonna happen
For the parking
for
lot?
the parking, yeah.
Any permits, any inspections on the electrical? As you mentioned, there would be lighting. Yes, the city would oversee all of those improvements. And one of the constituents mentioned the ponding area. The ponding area was required and meets the requirements for the parking.
Okay, and so, we're going up for rezoning. What about, like, fencing around the lot? What
We're
about,
we're also
any
consider-
asphalt,
yes.
concrete?
We're
What-
also going to consider that asphalt as well too. We have a list of items. Of course, they're very costly and very expensive. We are working with the city to see if they can identify grants that we can go after, because that's our plan.
Okay. I'm good.
Mr. Dominguez, so
She had a question?
go ahead, and if you want to make a motion again.
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion made to approve. I have a motion made by Julie Dominguez to approve, second by Andrew Arroyos. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Item number 7, public hearing request for the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Block 2, Track 6 and 6A, Socorro Ranch, located at 11051 North Loop Drive, Socorro, Texas, from A1 Agricultural to IC-MUD Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Developments. Mr. Arroyos?
Good afternoon. We open public hearing at 5:55. No? So we will close public hearing at 5:55.
Item number 8, consider and take action on the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro Master Plan and rezoning of Block 2, Track 6 and 6A, Socorro Grant, located at 11051 North Loop Drive, Socorro, Texas, from A1 Agricultural to IC-MUD Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Development. Mr. Botello?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner with the City of Socorro. Item number 8 on the agenda is a rezoning request of 11051 North Loop Drive. And the summary of the request is for approval of a rezoning from A1 Agricultural to ICMUD, which is Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Developments, to allow for enclosed manufacturing or warehouses, compounding, assembling, or treatment of articles. And some background on this case, as previously mentioned, it is currently zoned A1, which is agricultural. The size of the lot is 99.332 acres. The address is 11051 North Loop Drive. It's currently agricultural. The proposed land use is for ICMUD to allow for warehouses. And the request is to approve the rezoning from A1 agricultural to ICMUD industrial commercial mixed-use developments to allow for enclosed manufacturing, warehouses, compounding, assembling, or treatment of articles. And in this case, planning and zoning is recommending denial. This is the location map showing the size of the property and its location near or on North Loop Drive. The zoning map showing the current zoning designation, which is A1 agricultural. And a couple of pictures from North Loop, one showing Clems Road on top, and the bottom showing North Loop northbound. and a couple of aerial images showing the property currently. The public notice that was given to the residents around the vicinity within a 200-foot radius. And next we have the development plan showing the location of the warehouses, parking spaces, private road, main road. And following that is also part of the development plan showing connections to sewage, water, and all the requirements that are needed in a development plan for an ICMUD rezoning. And once again, the summary of the request is for approval of rezoning from A1 agricultural to ICMUD industrial commercial mixed-use developments to allow for enclosed manufacturing, compounding, assembling, or treatment of articles. The applicant is also present and has a presentation ready if you guys would like to hear his presentation.
Yes.
Yes. See if the applicant wants to come up.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Williamson. Thank y'all for having me today. I am not a resident of Socorro. I live in Houston, Texas, not too far from here, but we have plans to, or would like to, get this lot rezoned from agricultural to, yep, I see. Can we go to the next slide? I work for a family office in Houston, Texas called Pinchel & Company. We have a proven track record of success. We've done this similar, larger 100-acre redevelopment within residential or other communities in the past. Over the past 35 years, I think we've done about 25. We have a long-term community investment plan, PCO. We develop each project from the ground up, creating jobs, tax revenue, value to the community. We aim to deliver consistent and enduring community benefits with each development. We're committed to each community that we develop in. Our expertise, insight, and access to capital allows us to create stable properties and that benefit the community, and then we partner with best class developers to minimize risk to infrastructure and other things of neighbors and existing properties. Will you go to the next one? Skip over the next one probably. It's just another summary, and I can send it around to everyone so you have it. This is a summary of the site that Jose already went through. It's 11051 North Loop Drive. It's 99 acres, which is 4,312,000 square feet. It's currently zoned agricultural. We'd like to use it to build industrial properties on. And then you obviously know the location. Go to the next slide, please. This is the current zoning versus where we'd like it to get. Proposed IC mud, industrial, commercial, mixed use. We go one more, please. So the development plan is to build 2 buildings, approximately 900,000 square feet across each. We currently have 2 tenants in tow that would bring immediate jobs to the community. The total investment in the infrastructure alone is $100 million. It doesn't include tenants' individual investments into the property. It would bring around 720 jobs immediately to the Socorro community with an average salary in the $45,000 to $75,000 a year range. We have incorporated in our development plan, we've heard your concerns with traffic along North Loop. We've created a setback along North Loop to allow for an expansion so that it can go from 2 to 4 lanes, which will help mitigate some of that traffic associated with the trucks. Now, I will say trucks, typically there will only be 45 to 55 trucks entering or exiting the facility per day. That would be compared to a residential development on 99 acres would be quite more than that. We have no plans to interrupt the irrigation with the, that's along either side of the residential communities, and I'll show you that on the next slide. And then, again, we have a setback along North Loop Road. Is there okay if I step away from this? Well, I guess you all can see that. So if you see the red line on the bottom of the screen, That is our setback that will allow for an additional 3 lanes on North Loop. Two of the lanes would be to expand it to a 4-lane road. The fifth would be an acceleration or deceleration lane that would allow the trucks coming in or out of the park to accelerate or decelerate without interfering with one of the lanes that have normal flow of traffic. You can see we have 2 facilities here. We have a tree buffer along the outskirts, along the adjacent residential neighborhoods, and I'll show you a detail of what that looks like and how we've worked with other communities in the past. But the irrigation plans and those items, we do not plan to touch. The Mesa Drain or any of the other existing infrastructure, Clem's Road, we're not planning on interfering with. One of the facilities will be manufacturing, one of the facilities will be distribution. We go to the next slide, please. This is an example of a development that we did in Lockbourne, Texas. Directly to the left side of this was a residential community. Lockbourne on the red line on the left side, you can see, it's hard to see from here, but we created a mound with trees along that to minimize any interference with the residents of that community. We also created a walk path along Lockbourne Road, and we improved or expanded a road at the entrance of the park to add another accel and deceleration lane, a lighted intersection, and walkways for the residents. So if you go to the next slide, it'll show you a picture of the development. You can see, if you look closely on the bottom, that's where we expanded that road and added a lighted intersection. These are the first 2 buildings of a 6-building park. The neighborhood is directly to the top right. And you can go to the next slide. Another picture of the same. One more slide, please. So this is an example of the before and after. I realize that the befores are probably fairly difficult for you all to see, but a type of screening that we did on this project where you can fairly see you can kind of see the building in the background of the trees, but we created a mound and a tree to minimize any disruption, noise, light, all of those issues from these residential neighborhoods to try to minimize that as much as possible. We have had positive feedback from the community since building those first 2 buildings, so I think that is positive, but this is one of 25 of these that we've done in the past. Okay, next slide, please. This is the last slide I have just talks about tax income to the city of Socorro. Currently, Hermanos Farm, minimal taxes. There's 2 buildings right down the road that are on a similar 100-acre site. They currently pay around $1.5 million in taxes, so that would increase the tax revenue of Socorro annually just via property taxes by $1.3 million, which will allow them to improve infrastructure, invest in schools, what have you, to help benefit your community one way or another. And that is all I have. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Ms. Martinez, if you could please unmute yourself.
Excuse me?
If you could please be unmuted for the rest of the meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Estrada?
Okay, I want to clarify current ownership, Hermanos Farms LTD, right? That's the current owner right now. It hasn't sold to anyone else. And
Yes.
Matt Williamson and Pinchel Company, they represent Hermanos Farms, correct?
Correct.
Hermanos Farms, that ownership, anybody here that owns Hermanos Farms LTD there, are they present? You're present? Okay.
But you are correct, they are not the current owners. The sale is pending the outcome of the zoning change.
Okay. So, there's a contract, you're under contract. Hermanos Farms is under contract to sell
To buy.
to whom, if I may ask? Who's the owner? Who's the buyer on contract? Are they here? You're, okay, so Matt Williamson, you're under contract to purchase, and it's contingent on the rezoning. The sale of the contract is
That is
closing on the
accurate.
sale is contingent on the rezoning. Okay, staff is recommending to deny. Why, can you give us your reasoning behind denying?
Yeah, so we understand the concerns of our constituents. We met with you know, the mayor, and we held a meeting and determined that the north loop at that specific area would create a lot of headaches for constituents within, you know, those subdivisions. And it's just very difficult because we understand that growth is good for the city, but at the same time, we're putting a lot of, you know, people at risk because of the traffic concerns. There's a fire station down the road from the property, and so if we introduce, you know, trailers and larger vehicles, that's going to slow down the traffic. And, you know, if there's an emergency, God forbid, you know, that's something to really keep in mind. We understand growth, but there is, you know, smart growth, and we just have to be keeping the city's best interest in mind.
While there are plans to expand North Loop, right now that section is still one way, 2 lanes one lane in either direction, and the plans for expanding North Loop are still very far out. TxDOT came and presented a Planning and Zoning Commission. They were coming with us at the termination of the beginning of the feasibility study. So that's kind of where we are on North Loop. The other concern is if really that is a compatible use, again, in between those 2 residential neighborhoods.
Did you say compatible or incompatible?
Oh, it's not compatible with those 2 residential neighborhoods to either side, and whether that's appropriate enough buffering, that would probably just be up to an individual to say and determine whether or not that's enough of a barrier.
Okay. Regarding TxDOT, you said that they initiated the initial feasibility studies, right? And so North Loop will get expanded eventually.
Eventually.
What's your timeline on it? And I know.
No, I don't have a timeline.
5 years,
TxDOT didn't
10
have a
years,
timeline. And the
20
other
years?
thing to consider is the city of Socorro's priorities. Right now, the city of Socorro's priorities are Arterial 1 and the extension of Nuevo Hueco Road. Currently, funding is identified for those, and that's where we are in terms of large-scale roadway projects. North Loop is way farther out in the horizon.
And I'm asking because there's a lot of people here, and so I'd like for them to hear it directly from you as far as how far out this expansion of North Loop would be. And so I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Nuevo Hueco Tanks Road took 10 years probably from the initial feasibility to the completion. I don't know, that's what I heard. I may be wrong, right? But is that, I mean, maybe.
That was prior to my
correct?
arriving, but it did seem like it took a long time.
I have a quick question for the applicant. As far as a time frame, when, if the purchase, if this goes through, what's the time frame that you guys are looking at? Yes, at construction and terminate, and, you know, just like a time frame or whatnot. If you can come up to the podium, sir? Sorry, thank you.
Obviously, a function of how quickly we could get our permits and plans done with TxDOT, working with you all and them on all of that, but so as quickly as possible. I mean, we have 2 users, 2 nationally known corporations that would like to come in and be a part of the Socorro community, more or less.
Any rough timeline, just?
I mean, if we could get plans, if I could hand you a set of plans and you could give me approval, I could go out there with a shovel tomorrow and go. I realize that's not realistic, so I'd say 6 to 12 months.
Wow.
Depending on how quickly we can, you know, get plans reviewed and approved.
Plans and as well as the plat, the subdivision preliminary and final plat process.
Right. And I was just trying to get a time frame for, I know that TxDOT is, they've looked our way already on expanding North Loop. Unfortunately, they take forever. And so I'm just trying to put one together as far as how, if you were to start tomorrow, it'd take you, 12 years, a year, 2 years to build everything. And
Oh, it would take, 6 to 12 months to begin construction.
Right.
Then construction would take another 18 months, start to finish probably.
Right. Okay.
So 2 to 3 years roughly.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I have one last question.
Mr. Estrada?
The current owner, will you have any, if this was to close, let's say down the line, are you going to have any interest with Matt Williamson? Are you going to be part owner of the new warehousing or anything like that, or?
As far as
After the sale, will you?
interest with his company,
Yeah,
we are going to remain farming on the other side.
on the other side.
We have another 180 acres on the other side that we will continue farming.
Okay. Well, my biggest thing is, well, a number of things, but my number one thing is the traffic. And just North Loop is not accurate at all. Yeah. So,
I'm a little bit in the middle because I know that we pressured TxDOT to look our way even more because we've got so much development. Maybe it would push them a little bit harder, but right now I live close by there too, so I know how bad traffic is.
I think the current situation with people driving down Horizon from I-10 down to North Loop, and once you get to that intersection and you're trying to turn left on North Loop, forget it. And so I think, you mentioned 30, 40, 50 trucks per day. I think the main route that they would take is either down Horizon, or if they'd come down Clint cut off and come down North Loop. It's already a headache. It is unbelievable with just what we have going right now. And I agree with you. It's, we're sitting here and thinking it's a great idea, great development because of the tax base, but I think it's not compatible with the surrounding areas, and the current infrastructure that's there is just, it's not a good idea. Right now.
Mrs. Dominguez?
I second.
Well,
No, hold on, Ms.
There's no, and
There's no motion yet.
I'd like to, if they can do a rebuttal, right, they can do, the applicant can,
Yes, yes.
right,
The applicant like to come out, or the homeowner, I mean, the lot owner?
Traffic concerns because of that. I understand the concerns with TxDOT being 10 years out, but we can still expand North Loop and add a right-of-way, right turn in a acceleration, deceleration lane within the, you can't see it on the map, but within the rights, or within the length that North Loop runs along the site that we have under contract. We can expand North Loop within that area to allow for a right turn lane if you were coming into the property that way, or a left turn lane, acceleration, deceleration lane to help prevent that with the approval of TxDOT, but we could fund it to help prevent some of that now until TxDOT comes around in 5, 10 years, what have you, to then improve the road further. So that is something we have done, and it was in one of those slides. It was a little small, but we have added acceleration, deceleration lanes, right turns, all of those to help minimize disruptions of existing roadways before they were able to get the public funding via TxDOT or what have you.
Okay.
So just something to note.
okay, thank you.
This is a tough one. Again, I live not too far from there, and I go through those headaches every single day. But at the same time, I think that maybe this would help to push TxDOT to move a little bit faster. Again, geez.
So everyone in the room that travels down North Loop, I mean, that's a conversation that I have probably daily. We all want North Loop to be expanded. But it's really out of our control, right? I mean, it really is. Am I correct? It's okay. And so something like this does help, would maybe help the process, maybe, don't know. We don't know, right? I don't know. I want to say, on Alameda, there's a warehouse, I'm not familiar with the streets, and I don't know the address, but if you're on Alameda between Horizon and Clint, there's a huge warehouse over there that was built several years ago. And I drive by there, I see the rooftop, you can see the rooftop from I-10, right? When you're traveling down I-10, you look down into the valley, and you can see the rooftop, and it just looks so out of place, so out of character, right? And that's been there for many, many years. And you drive by there, and the whole frontage on Alameda is probably, I don't know, I'm not gonna say a mile long, but maybe. And it looks just so out of place, this warehouse way out there in the middle of nowhere. But then I'm sitting here thinking we have Amazon now, and the huge need for additional warehousing, a huge tax income, like you mentioned. And so what does Socorro want? What do we need? You know, do we want the expansion to hurry along? Do we want the tax base? Do we want to be looking at these warehouses? And more than anything, and I don't want to piss off any truck drivers, but trucks are bad for traffic. They just are. It's what it is. Trucks are bad for traffic. And so I'm going to make a motion to deny.
Anybody have a second?
Second.
I have a motion made by David Estrada to deny, second by Maria Martinez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains?
Aye.
Motion denied. Item number 9, consider and take action on the proposed approval of preliminary plat for Vista Bonita Estates Unit 2, being a portion of Track 5, Block 24, San Elizario Grant, El Paso County, Texas. Mr. Botello?
Okay, can I say something real quick?
Yes, Mr. Estrada?
Okay, so a lot of the people here are here for this item, correct? Am I on the right item? Item 8, right? Item 9?
Yes.
Item 9.
Vista Bonita? Okay, so last time it was postponed, the applicant postponed that item. We went into executive session, and at this point, I'm going to remove myself from sitting up here. And my question to the attorney, I just want to clarify, I want to be able to address, I signed up as a speaker, I want to be able to address the commission as a resident of this subdivision. And then I'll remain throughout the remainder of this item, I'll remain on that side.
Yeah, I think it,
And let me address that. The other option is that I remain seated, but I don't speak on the item at all. I don't make any motions and I don't vote. That's the other option. And so I think I would do a better service to the community and to myself as a resident of this neighborhood if I remove myself, but I do want the opportunity to address the commission.
yeah, I think probably the proper way to do it is either way you need to abstain, and then you can't speak on the subject since you're abstaining from voting, so you don't want to sway either side, yes or no, on the particular thing. Since you're abstaining, because the purpose of abstaining is to then sit out and have, let the other parties involved get, their viewpoints out. So,
Okay, so even if I remove myself, you're saying that I should not speak on the item?
right, yes, that would be my recommendation.
Okay, what are the repercussions if I stay here and I do speak on the item and if I vote and make a motion?
Yeah, I don't think you can vote on the item at this time. I think you identified a reason to abstain already, so.
think there's enough constituents here, there's enough people here. I'm going to remove myself. I'll remove myself from the room, but I think that if everyone who signed up to speak gets up, signs up to speak, we can leave it at that. I think you guys will be fine.
Ms. Martinez, could you,
I'm abstain.
I'm sorry?
I'm saying.
I was just
Thank you.
asking if you could
You're-
unmute yourself and remain
Let me know your
unmuted.
question, please.
I was just going to ask if you could remain unmuted for the entire meeting, for the remainder of the meeting.
Yes, it's unmute.
No, unmute. Stay on the.
Oh, I'm
yes.
asking on the chat, unmute or mute. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
No, I should put it back on mute.
Do we have public hearing on this one?
No public hearing. This is we have some folks to speak, and it would be at your discretion to allow them to speak, but there is no public hearing portion to plating items.
Okay, and we allow them to speak once we open the consider and take action, or?
Consider and take action if you'd like to hear Mr. Boteo's presentation first, or
Okay, I think we can hear the presentation first, and then we have multiple people, right, speaking when they want to speak. And we can move forward with that, and we just ask that we keep it to 3 minutes per person. Yes.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Jose Botello, planner for the City of Socorro. Item number 9 on the agenda is the Vista Bonita Estates Unit 2 preliminary plat. So the summary of the request is for approval of Vista Bonita Estates Unit 2 preliminary plat. Some background on this case, because it is in our 2-mile ETJ, we're not considering the zoning. The size of the development is 101.81 acres. It's the approximate address is Laguna Bonita Avenue. The property is currently vacant. The proposed land use is for a residential development that would bring 283 lots. And the request is to approve Bonita Estates Unit 2 preliminary plat. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval with the condition that an updated TIA be provided prior to submitting the final plat. And so this is an aerial image of the location of Vista Bonita Estates Unit 2 from June 2017. And the next image shows the same area, but with the growth that the City of Socorro has experienced within that time frame from June 2017 to July 2022. We have about 5 or 6 subdivisions that came to the proximate area that also utilized North Loop, which is why we're requesting an updated traffic impact analysis. And so this is the next slide shows the aerial image of the subdivision. Just a few pages from the traffic impact analysis that was provided. And so this is a letter from the county where they are in support of a park that was required for the subdivision based on the standards of the City of Socorro. And they're agreeing to maintain the park that is in the Socorro's 2-mile ETJ. And so this is the dedicated parkland that was provided to us. It is very close to Tres Caballos Drive, and it's 2.55 acres in size. And this is the location map. Once again, it's in Socorro's 2-mile ETJ. The purple line shows the City of Socorro's city limit. The zoning map, it is blank due to the property being outside the Socorro city limit. And the property pictures, top is the entrance at Burbridge Road, the bottom at Tres Caballos Drive, it's currently a dead end, and Trent Road to the right. And this is one portion, sheet 1 of 2 of the preliminary plat, and followed by sheet number 2 of the preliminary plat. And so once again, the summary of the request is to approve Vista Bonita Estates Unit 2 preliminary plat. I have the applicant here at this meeting if you guys would like to ask additional questions, or I can answer questions as well.
Would the applicant like to come up?
Mr. Romero?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Robert Romero. I'm with Train Associates. We agree with all staff comments, and I will entertain any questions you all may have.
Just real quick, what was the average size of lot again?
The average size is about 10,000. The smallest one is about 10,100, I believe. So they're all a little bit over 10,000. We have some that are 11,000, some that are 13,000, but the majority are 10,000 and above.
They are apartments or houses?
I'm sorry, I did not understand your question. Can you repeat that?
Where is located?
I think she's asking if they're apartments.
Oh,
or
these
houses.
are residential homes, these are not
Residential
apartments.
homes?
Residential, that's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As far as the infrastructure is, on the development, will there be, assuming paved streets, curb and gutter, pond areas?
Yes, sir, that is correct. All the lots are being treated as on-site ponding. We are paving all streets, providing all the infrastructure, lift station, all the water and wastewater improvements in order to be able to provide the necessary service to all the lots.
Will that include light poles?
Including light poles, yes, ma'am, illumination as well.
And I'm so sorry, I missed, the maintenance of the park again, Mr. Boteo?
The,
Would be,
you want me to answer it?
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sure, yeah, not a problem. The park is required by the city of Socorro because we're within your ETJ. So we are providing the park. The only issue was that in order to maintain, the city of Socorro coordinated with the county of El Paso for them to be able to maintain the park. And so at this point, the developer will fund the park because of the city of Socorro requirements, and the county has agreed to maintain.
The county has agreed.
The county has agreed, which is the letter that Mr. Botello provided on the screen.
Oh, that's good.
I'm sorry, I apologize, I missed that. So I was falling asleep, sorry. That's all the questions that I had. I don't know if anybody else, if not, you don't have anything else to add?
Not at this moment, sir, but I will continue to answer questions as you wish.
So I guess we go to the public now? Do we have people that signed up, right?
Mr. Fernie Salcido, you have 3 minutes.
I would like to ask council for additional time. Would that be possible? This item is a lengthy item. I don't think I can cover everything that I need to cover within the 3-minute allotment time.
How many people do we have speaking on this?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Go ahead and can we do 5 minutes?
That'll work. Thank you. I appreciate that
Yes.
additional time that you're allowing me.
Yes, sir.
This issue has been going on for several years. I was here for 49 months fighting this for them to gain access through Tres Caballos, Rancho Viejo. Our streets are only 30 foot wide. We cannot accommodate that type of traffic. We're looking at 500 homes, and they're actually 500 lots. They're not residential. They're just lots. The county has no restrictions, or they're very minimal. We do not want to be part of the ETJ, allowing them to enter into our roadways. I feel that we're not going to benefit anything from it. We're going to be deprived of our streets. We actually walk, since we don't have sidewalks in our area was annexed to the city of Socorro, and nothing has ever been done in our area. We are self-controlled, self-patrolled. We have a covenants in place for the next 35 years in which we abide by those covenants, and we monitor and patrol our own area. We did the lighting, we did the pavement, we did the water, we did the natural gas, and we have the postal system in our streets. We've done everything according to the covenants, and to have someone come in and just tear up our roadways, they're not safe. We have our children that use the roads to walk. You'll be depriving us of walking, of exercising, of walking our dogs, riding our horses. We chose to be in that community years ago. I've been there for 34 years, and we have abided by the covenants that supersedes in '86 when the city of Socorro annexed us. I'm totally against opening up Tres Caballos. In the past, with the previous administration, they barricaded Tres Caballos. They have a new administration now. I'm talking about the city of Socorro, and here we are again, facing the same issues, the same problems. I just don't think it's fair for our community to sustain that kind of traffic. The potential of having accidents on our street. Another thing, there is no government to patrol out in our area those 18-wheelers that come in and come out. We are posted 25 miles an hour, children at play, and no vehicles larger than 25 feet. That includes all the 18-wheelers. We have residents in our area that changed professions because we did not allow them to bring their 18-wheelers into our community. And now we're up against this. There's no one to govern or to patrol the ETJ. Socorro has no jurisdiction over that at all whatsoever. So I just don't see it benefiting our community, our residents, our voters. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
One other question. I don't know if we can answer it. Do we still have a quorum now that we have 3 people absent?
We do.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify that.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Javier Diaz. No. Okay. Jesús Cabrera. You have 3 minutes.
My name is Jesus Cabrera, and I've been living there since 1994. And it's been a very quiet subdivision, Rancho Mariban. I live right on Tres Caballos. And since 17, also like Mr. Salcido, I've been here for every single meeting. Because in reality, that subdivision is not doing what they're supposed to do. First of all, I invite you to go over there and see how actually the constructions are. Now, they want to leave through Tres Caballos when on the phase 1, they already got preparations to go straight to North Loop. If they already got that, they can have the same thing for the second section. Now, 500 houses, 2 cars per houses, it's 1,000. The problem is not that only. Between Pecan Valley In Alameda, 60% of the cars, they making a shortcut from San Elizario, from Plain, from Favens, just to avoid Alameda and Horizon. How much vehicles gonna be that? I'm estimating myself between 3 to 4 cars every 2 minutes. Now, my street, Tres Caballos, is only 30 feet wide. Yeah, you can get a 10 feet easement from each side, but we got irrigation easement there. So there's no way they can get all that traffic there. So I don't want, period, all that traffic on that street. Even I already told my wife, if that happens, I'm telling. And besides, I'm the only one who has the biggest lot over there, 4.5 acres. And it's been nice, and I want to keep it that way. So they're not doing their job. Besides, on the last, when they put the barricade, the last investor, they said they're going to put a 6-foot rock wall dividing the subdivision. Same thing with the Pecan Estates. You can go and see, nothing is being done. You can go over there, it's a trashy area. That's it is. Trash all over, everybody's doing whatever they want, and besides, one of the houses there, yeah, I know it's poor people, they're trying to make a living, but they got a tiny house. It looks like a barn, like a little barn. Now, if they don't have the water assessment, I feel sorry for them. When it rains, those houses, they're gonna sink, that period. So, thank you for your time. Hope you consider that, but I invite you to go and see.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jesus Morales? You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jesus Morales. I live in 539 Rancho Viejo. I lived there since 2007, more like 15 years. Since I moved into the community, we all have been pretty close together. I was there for the gas. Mr. Zacido gathered all the neighbors, and we didn't have gas. We had like propane gas tanks for houses. Thanks to Mr. Zacido, we brought that into the neighborhood. We pretty much know everybody by name in the neighborhood. We have a pretty close-knit community, and we like to keep it that way. I think giving access to traffic into Rancho Viejo to Tres Caballos is going to be a hazard for the community, and also it's just too much traffic. Right now, there's an opening on North Loop to go into the community on the other side of the Pecan Farm, but that's the only opening. And then they have another opening or access into the neighborhood through Alameda. But once if Tres Caballos is open, all the traffic is going to go through Rancho Viejo, because that's going to be like a shortcut. So all the traffic is going to go through there. They're not going to go through Alameda, or they're not going to go through the other entrance that they have on North Loop. They're just going to go through Rancho Viejo and go through there. It's going to be a shortcut. So the traffic, all the traffic into that neighborhood, all those 1,000 or 2,000 cars that are going to be cruising through there, they're going to be coming through our neighborhood. And I don't think that's right. We like to keep our community the way it is. I don't know if you are familiar with that community. It's a nice community, pretty quiet, and we'd like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellen Pfeiffer? You have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Ellen Pfeiffer. I've lived in Rancho Mirabal for almost 30 years, 6 months shy of 30 years. It was a nice, quiet subdivision. As planned, it built up. There were a lot of empty lots when I moved there, and the traffic has increased. It's been mentioned before that the traffic on North Loop has been growing, and it's so bad that sometimes I have to wait 5 minutes to get out of our subdivision. There's another subdivision across North Loop, and there's traffic coming out of there. We have opened up our street to 5 more lots at the end of the street, which is also going to increase. But We have kids driving down the middle of the street on ATVs, speeding. We have cars from the far end that want to get out in a hurry, speeding, and I just pray someday they don't meet, especially around the curve. Having all these extra homes in is going to be a great hardship on our community. There are potholes in the street that are not getting repaired. There are trucks for the 5 1 acre lots down the end going back and forth and back and forth. There's constant construction noise. This will just add to destroying the quality of life we have in our nice little neighborhood. And I'd like for you to consider that and deny this request because it was denied once. They did some rigmaroles to change it. Furthermore, they were supposed to have ponding areas in each of the homes. If you walk back there, the homeowners have filled those in. So we have that issue coming up also, and nobody's controlling that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tony Valdez, I'm sorry.
Hello, my name is Tony Valdez. I'm a resident of 459 Rancho Viejo, and I've been there for approximately, give or take, about 23 years or so. I've seen a lot of good changes. I've seen a lot of attempted changes that would definitely impact our quality of life. One of the most interesting aspects that I've seen is our fight against opening up these roadways and definitely impacting our main roadway, which is Rancho Viejo Drive. My main concern is, of course, security. Security is one of the most important things that I look at when I'm retired, basically. Right now I'm retired, and the reason that I came back, because I left to California and came back, the reason that I came back was because the quality of life here that I have at Rancho Viejo. It's a great community. We know each other for many years. I know a lot of the people that live there. I enjoy every minute of it, and I hope to enjoy that throughout my retirement. But if this goes into place, I know that there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of bad changes, and this is definitely not going to help our community whatsoever. One of the biggest things is, of course, security. I sometimes leave my stuff out in the backyard or in the front yard, and I know that nothing's going to happen to it, more than likely, right? You know, anything can happen at any time, but this community, I feel, safe, right? I feel that my kids, my family can go out, walk around, even in the horses. I've seen a lot of people on horses. You don't see that too much in El Paso, right? So I'd like to keep it that way. I know that accessing North Loop nowadays is definitely a chore because usually it takes me, 3 or 4 minutes waiting on traffic to cross before I can access Rancho Viejo left on North Loop. So I know giving more traffic that's going to access Rancho Viejo, that's going to definitely increase that time frame. Not only if there is, say for example, if there is an emergency situation, that's going to also impact emergency response to our area. It's going to be detrimental to, same thing, people, police, fire department, all those emergency response situations. So definitely please consider our plea again to stop opening that access to Tres Caballos area. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lupe Salcido? You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Guadalupe Salcido.
Can you lower
My name is Guadalupe Salcido, and I am here on behalf of the residents of Rancho Mirabal. I have some signatures of the people that will not be able to attend, that were not able to attend the meeting, and I'm going to be reading to you what they are in agreement. We, the residents of Rancho Mirabal Estates, do not want Tres Caballos and Rancho Viejo streets to be opened for through traffic for the proposal of Vista Bonita development. We are a community of 42 residential. Almost half of them are here. We are a community of 42 residential homes with a dead-end street. This is not a main street to accommodate such a large volume of traffic of 500 lots from Vista Bonita development. We, the residents of Rancho Miribal Estates, chose to live in this community for a reason. We do not want to lose the tranquility, the peacefulness, and much less the safety of our lifestyle. Jogging, running, walking our dogs, horseback riding, and simply enjoying the safety of our community due to a large volume of traffic coming through. We have no sidewalks on our streets. Therefore, with such a large volume of traffic, this presents a serious safety issue. We ask that as current residents, voters, and taxpayers of the city of Socorro, you hear our voice and our concerns before making your recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Bolton? You have 3 minutes.
My name is Deborah Bolden. I know you've heard everybody speak about, the traffic and everything. I live in one of the homes up in the front, basically up in the front, closer to North Loop. And I don't remember ever being asked about opening the dead end for all the trucks for the construction to come in. And I try to stay outside a lot as much as I can, out in my yard. And those trucks came in and out, in and out, in and out the whole entire day and night, anytime that they were working. It's not only those trucks, but all the other vehicles that come by, it's like they use it like a speedway. It's driving up and down, up and down. I mean, it's a small community, yet I know most of us are retired and want to go in and out, go shopping, whatever. But if you open it up, all that traffic is going to be horrendous. Ms. Pfeiffer likes to walk her dogs. I don't think she'll be able to do that. I had seen families come in and walk their kids in their bikes, their dogs. I haven't seen those families at all because of all those trucks coming in and out, in and out. So, I mean, I'm here to say, we don't need all that traffic. We don't want it. We're a community that is, I came in like maybe 20, 30 years ago, and I drive down North Loop. I'd be the only one at 5 o'clock, maybe 2, 3 cars coming down. Now, it's hundreds of cars on North Loop, up and down, up and down. You can hear the cars where they're trying to race up and down North Loop, and it's dangerous. You all said about parks. I haven't seen a park in that community across North Loop at all. There is no park there. And you said that it was mandatory for Socorro, through Socorro to have a park there, but I haven't seen any park. I don't know if there's going to be a park on that new lot where the cotton field was, those 500 houses. I don't know if it's a park because I've driven and I haven't seen anything, any lot there where it's going to be designated as a park. But yet you say that the city of Socorro demands or has restrictions saying that you have to have a park in each community. I don't know if that's true or not. It doesn't seem like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jose Luis Gomez? You have 3 minutes.
So my name is Jose Luis Gomez. I'm probably a rookie living there. I've only been there 10 years. I live on Tres Caballos, and my home will be affected as my neighbors. Everybody else on Rancho Viejo's home will be affected, and of course I'm opposed to it. I also agree to all my neighbors what they say about the traffic. How people right now, they're outside walking on horseback. including myself, is just something that we're all opposed, and I hope you guys will listen and consider it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Arzadal. Greg? No? Jesús Piñón. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Jesus Piñon. I just bought a ranch, 11940 Los Adobes, and I have a dead end, and that's the whole reason that I bought that land, because of the dead end. I mean, and there's no sidewalks, just like all my neighbors are saying. I'm new. I'm like barely a week, but I've been around the neighborhood, and I have always well, it's personal, keep my guns, because I moved from Northeast. I always keep my guns out. And here, I lock them, because I don't feel that I need them, you know? So there's no sidewalks for even the kids to drive, walk their dogs, the bikes, and, you know, so I wouldn't like all that traffic. My wife needs to get up at 5 in the morning to get the kids ready and drive them down North Loop just to avoid a little bit of that traffic. If she's 10, 15 minutes late, like today, she was 20 minutes late, and all the kids were late to school because of that traffic. So if you open, because I know the neighborhood that they're building next to our neighborhood, they have an opening to North Loop. Why not just keep it there? If they open up Los Adobes or they open up Tres Caballos, all that traffic, like all my neighbors saying, is gonna come through there, you know? And like I said, that's the whole reason that I bought that land, because of the dead end, and it's peaceful and it's quiet, and I enjoy it. And yesterday I got home late and I told them not to lock the doors, and I didn't even lock them. And right now, my shop is open, the truck's open, everything's open. So with all that traffic coming in, you know what I mean, in Northeast, I was one who voted, and that's, if you go down Monte Leno, that's the only street that has street bumps. No other streets around the neighborhood because of the driving, you know, speeding, and I see that here. And I'm a speedster, but since I got my CDL 13 years ago, I mean, I go 5 miles under the speed limit. It's 45 miles no loop, and I drive it at 40, you know, so because I want to be safe, and I want everybody to be safe. So, and coming out of Rancho Viejo across the street, yeah, it's a new development, and that street is open. So, like my neighbor said, you getting out of Rancho Viejo to North Loop, and they're coming out also, there's a lot of traffic there. So now opening all them streets, this is gonna create a lot of traffic. And like I said, there's no room for sidewalks. And, you know, I move, when I see somebody coming down and I'm driving down Rancho Viejo, I move, you know, closer to the side so they can pass. So, like I said, I'm new to the area, but that's the reason I bought that house. So if it's open, I guess I'll be selling and moving somewhere else. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else?
Did- Let's let the other person come out first, and then we'll, did they sign up, or is it somebody new?
We had one, but we cannot understand the name.
Okay. Was that you, ma'am?
One of you? I'm sorry?
And yes, ma'am, you can go ahead and come up and just state your name when you come up, please.
Sorry, I wasn't prepared to talk. My name is Denise Garcia. I'm one of the newest members in the community. I've been there for 2 years, me and my husband, who's not here because he's working. But I just want to address some concerns. It's very concerning to me because we moved into this community because it's, number one, the safety. When I was younger, my uncle lived in that community, so I would always tell my parents, when I get older and I have the opportunity, I'm going to buy a house there. And Luckily, I did. Me and my husband worked hard to get a lot there, and we have a house there now. So the whole reason we moved there is because the big concern is safety. I sometimes always forget to lock my front door. He works night shifts sometimes, so I'm there by myself, and never once have I had to worry. I know my mom worries for me sometimes, but even on Ring, if you have the Ring app, you can see alerts from all the surrounding neighborhoods that there's stolen cars, there's someone walking in the neighborhood, and you never get that from our neighborhood. So my concern is, if these streets open, is that safety gonna be there anymore? Am I gonna be able to walk my dog? Because also I do invite you to go to that neighborhood, because if you go, there's a bunch of stray dogs that I can't even walk in that neighborhood without getting attacked by another dog. So just that, also just the main concern is safety, the traffic. If there's a lot of cars there, I won't be able to go outside and walk my dog by myself, because there's gonna be too much traffic. We don't have sidewalks on our street, so we have to walk on the street. And if there's people that's going fast or people that aren't in the neighborhood that I don't know, it's very concerning. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Craig? No?
You didn't sign up?
Can we let the gentleman?
So we have how many people that didn't sign up? 1, 2, 3? Okay, yes, ma'am, we can keep it to 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am. Just state your name when you come up, please.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Raquel Gomez. I reside at 499 Rancho Viejo. I have lived there for 28 years. My husband and I, we have raised our children there. And I just want to reiterate everything that you have heard tonight. As you can see, we are a very united community. We take a lot of pride in our neighborhood. We have beautiful homes. If you've ever been to Rancho Viejo, or if you have not been there, we invite you to come and look. Don't stay, just look. It is beautiful, and we take great pride in it. We look out for each other. This is where I want to retire and grow old. Like I said, all 3 of my children were raised there, as many others here. It is a safe neighborhood. We look out for each other, and we would like to keep it that way. We are adamant. We are united. We stand here together, and all we can ask for is to hear our plea and to take our community's concerns into consideration tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
The gentleman?
Yes.
My name is Ernie Gomez, and I reside on Los Adobes. I guess I'm kind of one of the rookies also. I've been there about 9 years. Everything you heard here tonight is exactly why I moved to that neighborhood. There's peace, there's quiet, there's unity, there is a collective awareness of each other and our priorities and things. I know from coming from Houston what opening one street can do to a community. It just tears them up, it really does. Allowing what could possibly be 1,000 cars coming through our street on a daily basis, it would tear our community apart. It really would. The serenity, the horses, you won't see those anymore. You won't see the people walking their dogs. People exercise. There's a couple of autistic children in our neighborhood that ride their bikes, and they're not a lot aware of things that go on. My son enjoys the ability to play up and down the street knowing he's not going to have to dodge cars. If you haven't been there, you just don't know. It's our little piece on earth. It really is. Allowing 3 minutes for each one of us to talk really doesn't do a representation of what we're doing. I mean, I think we really need to be heard, and not so much heard, but felt. I think if you haven't visited our community, come visit. Again, don't stay, but come visit. We've put up with all the crud right next to us from another 500 home community or 180 home community right next door. and just the loudness and the confusion that's going on just right in our, next to our neighborhood, creates problems for us at night, sleeping. All these folks do leave their homes open. We leave our gates open. I mean, it's just that way. I understand having new neighbors. He'll enjoy that too. I mean, just, there's a freedom within our neighborhood because we've taken so care of it. I just ask you guys to really dig deep. You could put a street somewhere else. I mean, there's a lot of farmland around there. Just please don't mess up our neighborhood. It's really a great place. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ofelia Carrete. I live on 579 Rancho Viejo. It's one of the first houses from coming into Rancho Viejo. Like everybody was saying, it takes us a long time now to go from Rancho Viejo to North Loop. I can imagine how long it's gonna take us, all the homes that are from Tres Caballos towards North Loop, to get out of our own home into Rancho Viejo if you open that gate, if you open that street. We will not be able to get out of the house as fast or as safety like we have now if that street is open. I'm here just like everybody else. I've lived in that house for over 33 years. It's one of the first ones, but like everybody else, we are asking you to please, if we are all concerned about safety and traffic, please take into consideration us, a community that's been there for a very long time, a community that is very self-dependent, that we don't bother the city, we do everything we can to have everything that we have now to be in a safe place. Please consider not opening that street. Give us at least that stability that we can go out of our home without being afraid of somebody coming into the street or going out on that street and causing an accident. I hope, and we all hope, you can please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're done. The applicant like to say anything before we
Absolutely.
close or start our vote?
Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I'd like to applaud the community. They're very united. I can't get 5 of my neighbors to try and restrict parking in front of our streets. This is great. I'm glad to see that. Secondly, I just want to add that when we submitted the plat, we had not included Tres Caballos because we are aware of the history and we were aware of the residents' concerns. The developer is willing to not include it. I'd like to propose that if it could be added as a condition, we as the designers, as the representative of the developer and the developer have no issue with removing Tres Caballos. If the plat is approved with that condition, we can move forward that way. We're more than happy to do it. We are not pushing back at all. I just want the residents to know that on behalf of the developer. I would just want, obviously, staff to agree because it was requested by staff that we include that connection. So if we're all in agreement, I'd like to propose that tonight so that we can get approved with that condition.
Is that something that we can vote on with recommendation to not, or do they have to change their plans first and then?
Yeah, if the applicant's willing to stipulate to a condition, and if planning zoning wanted to approve it, they can approve it if they, agree to that stipulation. One of the things I want to mention, without taking an issue on either side of this. Because I heard it several times about the issue of traffic. And this is just for the benefit of the commission and also the public. So Texas Local Government Code, the section is chapter 212 that deals with preliminary plats, which is what this application is here for. It specifically says when considering a plat, and I'll read it for you word for word. So it's section 212.103, traffic or traffic operations. A municipality may not deny, limit, delay, or condition the use or development of land, any part of which is within an affected area because of, number one, traffic or traffic operations that would result from the proposed use or development of the land, or two, the effect that the proposed use or development of the land would have on traffic or traffic operations. And section 212.102 defines what affected area means. Affected area means an area that is in a municipality or a municipality's extraterritorial jurisdiction. So the Texas law does not allow a planning zoning commission to take into account for preliminary plats traffic or traffic operations. So that's just something I thought I would mention.
So if he decides to do that, like for Tres Caballos, for him not to have traffic through there for a subdivision, that's what he wants to do, right?
Right. Yeah, if the applicant willingly agrees to it, that's fine. But yeah, otherwise the Planning Zoning Commission and City Council cannot deny a plat because of the impact on traffic, whether or not it's fair or not to a community. That's Texas state law. And I've mentioned this before for the benefit of the people that haven't been to previous meetings, is in 2019, the Texas legislature changed several of the laws. And a lot of them, they were actually candidly in favor of developers around the state. A lot of developers in different towns and cities would get preliminary plats, final plats denied, and a lot of times there'd be maybe not enough outward, detailed reasons given why they were denied. And so in 2019, the Texas legislature changed the laws. As a result, actually, City of Socorro at the time had to change the ordinances here to comply with state law. So it's not something that the City of Socorro came up with, but it came out of Austin from the Texas legislature. And so we had to update the ordinances here. I was here as part of that when we had to update the ordinances to get them into compliance. So that's just a little bit of a background on the history of it for the benefit of the audience. So.
And that entrance through Tres Caballos, is that like something that you guys needed for emergency services, or?
The improvement plans, because we are very early in the stages, we're at preliminary plat stages. After, the reason why we bring the preliminary plat is because after the approval, we move forward with the design, we move forward with the studies, we move forward with the traffic impact analysis that we agreed to update, we move forward with the drainage design. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is with this approval, we move forward with all the submittals to the agencies, with the actual designs, to the City of Socorro, to the County of El Paso, Emergency Service District. So it's not something that we needed at this point. Like I said, it's something that was requested from us from the city. And so that we had excluded it, and we wanted to kind of make peace with everyone, right? We added a buffer to the residents so that they feel safe. We had removed the streets to not provide the connection. I believe staff wants a street for connectivity. We provided that for connectivity. Either way, if staff agrees, we as the representatives are willing to propose that we remove it or leave it. We are okay with both.
Now, if it doesn't get approved, if we move forward and it doesn't get approved because of emergency services for going in and out of the subdivision, that's something
That's
that you
correct.
all
We're
can-
running the risk. If
running
you
the
approve
risk.
the plat today and I move forward with all my submittals to all the agencies, and for some reason they do not get approved, then it comes to stop, right? We have to come back to the drawing board and rethink everything. So the traffic impact analysis, the study of all the traffic still has to be completed. So I know there were numbers thrown around, but we don't know those numbers because we have to update the traffic impact analysis still. But again, I just wanted to provide some feedback to the residents. I wanted them to know that the developer is looking after their interest, and we're willing to do whatever it takes with this particular street, as you all wish. But yes, sir, to answer your question, if we get approved tonight, we still have hurdles to jump. We still have the final plat. We still have tasks to complete before we even start on the ground.
And since it is in the ETJ, Socorro does have a say in that? And-
Yes, the plat is being looked at concurrently between the city of Socorro and El Paso County.
Okay.
And
Can I just mention something? I'm not sure with staff, I don't remember quite well if the county had or had not requested as well, because it's in the ETJ. I just also want to mention that.
Requested a what, I'm sorry?
The street, if
The what?
if the county had also mentioned anything. I don't remember. So,
No.
okay. So it's just city that requested it. So, again, we can remove it, we can leave it. We want approval to be able to move forward with all the submittals, the design, and finally get this project under its way with ESD, county, city of Socorro, with any other agencies, Lower Valley Water District.
So if we add that as a,
So,
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to, so you all can visualize what you're leaving in terms of access to this subdivision. If we could put up the preliminary plat, there is no direct access from this subdivision to North Loop. The two access points are, the next sheet has, okay, so there aren't any access points from this subdivision to any other streets other than Tres Caballos, and on the next sheet, to the bottom middle of this sheet are the, and I might
I
be
think I can help.
oriented incorrectly, the top right, the two streets leading out of the neighborhood
Yes, ma'am.
across the railroad tracks to Alameda, and then down, up, if you're looking at this, so up, and then out to the left, over to North Loop. That's what's left for access to this subdivision, until in some future point in time, some direct access can be negotiated.
You are correct. These two streets that are stubbed out to the right go past a subdivision and then connect, I believe it is to State Street. I don't remember, Estate, I believe is Estate. Then it goes north to North Loop. There's a second connection that also heads south on Burbridge and connects to Alameda. So I just wanted to also add that.
Yes.
There's two ways out.
Without going through
Without going through
Without
Tres
going
Caballos,
through-
but they're
yes.
all concentrated in that one corner of the
Okay.
subdivision.
And staff is recommending approval, right?
Yes,
Oh, do-
with the request that they update the traffic impact study, and we had recommended that they move the subdivision closer to the center as per the park ordinance, so that it can truly serve that subdivision, but understand that they chose to locate it where they did for the reasons that they stated.
So if I make an approval to approve, and I want to make that staff recommendation that the applicant is the one that is offering
To place
To
that
look-
condition.
right to not include, the subdivision as an entrance or whatnot. Is that the way I would word it, to say that?
Yeah, I think
The
to be clear,
applicant
that we
said-
can check with the representative. So you were suggesting blocking off access to Tres Caballos? Is that-
That's correct. I was suggesting removing Tres Caballos from connecting to the existing subdivision. Of course, that suggestion came with the recommendation of staff as well. I also want to let staff know that we are working with them. And this is something that was requested, and we work with them to be able to provide it. So as long as we're all in agreement, we're willing to delete the connection.
I don't think staff is recommending not, staff did not recommend not having the access to Tres
Right.
Caballos. So the subdivision right now currently only has those two at the very far end. Ranchos Mirabal also only has the one connection to North Loop, as well as the new subdivision behind it, Ranchos Escondido. Staff doesn't think that's appropriate for them to only have one access point out of the neighborhood, even though that's how they've been operating all this time. That would just be staff's recommendation. That connection is necessary for network and connectivity, but if they would like to exclude that from their plat, that would be up to them. And if you would like to proceed with that approval, with that condition, that would be.
So just to get this right, the staff recommendation, with
Recommendations.
the staff recommendation, I'm sorry.
No.
So
The
staff
the
is.
planning and zoning is, in other words, we
One-sided?
need Tres Caballos for it to work.
Yes, so that was our recommendation. The plat that is presented and being presented shows that connection through Tres Caballos as well as the other two at the other end. I think that's just staff's recommendation, again, for connectivity, that those streets are appropriate and needed, along with the, well, that's the point of that just network and connectivity.
So if we were to approve, we would probably deny him after he came back if we needed that entrance?
I'm sorry, say that again?
So we were to approve with him with him not wanting to go to Tres Caballos. And he came back with it, and he doesn't have that entrance anymore. That would have planning and zoning deny it?
No, it's your prerogative. I mean, that is our staff recommendation. If you all feel that that's adequate and you will take their closing off of Tres Caballos, then we'll defer to Planning and Zoning Commission on that.
Can I just state one thing to just add to the conversation? We have a conundrum here, right? So we, as the representatives and the developer as well, we are working in conjunction with staff in providing what they believe the best interest of this community is for connectivity. We work with them to be able to provide that. We are also aware of the community's concern, which is why our initial submittal did not include. Again, the developer and as a representative, we're willing to go either way. So I believe it's maybe on the commission to state which way they want to proceed. Either way, I feel like with the approval of the preliminary plat, it allows us to move forward with all the submittals to all the agencies to start the studies and look at those numbers.
No, he can't. Sorry. And the TIA, we're still missing the TIA, right?
Can you repeat that
We're
question?
still
I'm sorry.
missing the
So
TIA,
the
right?
TIA was from 2017, and that was also part of our recommendation that they update the TIA again to something a little more recent. And they had agreed that they would be able to provide an updated TIA in the process of getting ready for a final.
Okay. I don't think I want to make a recommendation as to what he said, that he would take it off or not. I think you would probably, you're going to do that by yourself, right? I mean, I don't
Yes,
want to deny.
If we are approved with that condition, we would do that, yes.
Yeah, I think if you don't mind me jumping in here, one more issue to consider, whether or not there's connectivity through that street is that fire and EMS services if they have less access points, it creates an issue for both neighborhoods because you want fire and EMS to come in from any side possible, even an emergency. So if they're stuck going through, either to come to your neighborhood or vice versa to go through that neighborhood, it could create an issue for residents. Something to consider.
No. I'm sorry, ma'am, we ask that you, speak out loud, please.
Can I have the floor really quick?
Yes, and then we can go ahead and let this gentleman, I think, and we'll
Sure.
go ahead and move on.
Absolutely.
for
Just to,
voting.
that's a great point that Mr. Martinez brings up. We've run into some of these cases before, and what we've been able to provide are emergency access gates. So it's maybe close to the public, but open to emergency service district. That's another thought. So we leave it, but we provide an emergency access gate so that only ESD has access. Another thought.
Okay. I know this has been a back and forth and stuff, but I think we'll go ahead and let the gentleman, we'll give you a minute, sir, and so we can move on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I really do appreciate it. We're currently brainstorming here. This had come up once before as well. Now, they did leave 2 stub outs, or they're in the drawings, and they left one of the stub outs headed directly east onto North Loop across that pecan orchard. What they need to do is deal with that pecan farmer. It's been sold. The Surratts no longer own it. It's been sold to a firm out of Mexico City, investors. Why don't they use that approach? I know we're brainstorming here, bear with me. You would have 2 X's to the North Loop. I know you don't want to go through the cost. You just want to piggyback off the community. I don't think it's right. I honestly don't think. And if you're willing to do that and work with us, let's put it in writing prior to an approval
Thank you.
of this magnitude. Thank you so much for your time. I just needed to, I've got all the paperwork here. We've been going, like I said, for 49 months. I went with this. And we tried giving them an easement. We tried working with them. They promised us a rock wall from North Loop, if that easement were to come about, from North Loop all the way to the railroad tracks. These are things that if we give in now on a what if and maybe, I want to see it in writing.
Okay.
So it'll hold up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you so much for that comment. I just want to
Yes,
make
but
sure.
we're going to go ahead and give you a minute also, and then we're going to.
Sure, absolutely.
Go ahead and
I
move
just
on.
want to make sure that what we are proposing is understood. We're proposing to stay with Tres Caballos or remove it, and that's our only proposal on behalf of the developer.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion to approve with the preliminary plat condition that the TIA be updated for final plat approval. And again, going back to the traffic, and we can't, take that into consideration under law or whatnot. And just, again, we're here to give our recommendation only. This still has to go through city council. So, yeah, I make a motion to approve with staff recommendations. Not with him, I don't want to, so in other words, I don't want to make a recommendation that we're going to go with what he's saying, right?
But okay, I understand. So you do not want to take into consideration his option to add that as a condition of your approval? To close off Tres Caballos or close off Tres Caballos only to emergency vehicles? If the greater concern is emergency access, you do not want to include that condition on the approval? Because you can.
Okay, and we can, but so that's not going against the law that says that we can't deny it with, because I would.
But you're not
we're
denying it, you're
right?
approving it.
Okay,
they've proposed closing it off to emergency vehicles
Okay.
or completely, and that's
Right.
for consideration, for
Okay.
your consideration.
So I will approve, I will make a motion to approve with staff recommendations for the TIA and that the applicant is recommending that he will close off traffic to Tres Caballos except for emergencies, emergency services. Okay.
Do I have a second?
And to answer the question, that will be a part of the plat, and that will be a part of the final plat,
That will be a part of the
plat,
of the final plan.
noted in the plat.
I think just to clarify, so again, and then, so you're saying to close the access to Tres Caballos except for an emergency gate for EMS, is that correct? Is that right?
Correct.
That's something that would work.
Sir, sir, we've heard both sides, please. So again, this is just our recommendation. Doesn't mean that it's already approved or not. This still has to go through city council or whatnot. This is just our recommendation, okay? Again, so I make a motion to approve with with all that, that we just said.
I deny.
Do I have a second?
So the motion dies for lack of a second.
The motion.
Motion dies for lack of a second.
Any other motions?
Is there any way I can intervene at this point in time?
Well, I
No, sir.
think he's already closed the discussion.
Yes, sir. We're
I guess I'll make the motion to deny. We're just
There
making-
was no second motion to the first. She's made a motion to deny.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to approved. I have also a motion made by Julie Dominguez to denied. Do I have a second?
I'm Maria Martinez, I'm abstain.
No, we don't, I mean, they can make motions. I think in the meantime, I mean, Planning and Zoning Commission can still entertain any motions they want to.
Ms. Martinez, please unmute yourself.
Yes, my name is Karin, I'm sorry. Yes, it's in mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
So will this go to, if we can't come to an agreement, will this just go straight to city council, or do we have to?
That has been done in the past with a zoning case. I don't know if that would be appropriate for plating, but we can check with legal. And do you want to postpone?
Yeah, I think if it's not approved, it's denied and then it still goes to city council because action needs to be taken, so. If there's no motion, right now, if there's an abstaining member, then we don't have enough to have a vote. It needs to be at least 3.
Okay. So to move forward, I think I'm going to go ahead and change my vote, and I'll just go ahead and make a motion to not approve and leave it to city council, because I don't think we're gonna come to an agreement. I think we'll be all night with, that's my opinion.
So a motion, that's a new motion to deny.
Can I
Okay.
recommend to postpone?
I have a
Hold
third
on.
motion.
Sorry. The applicant would like the chairman to consider something, I believe.
Postpone. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Unless I'm wrong.
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would like to postpone or table for next meeting.
For planning and zoning or for city council, because this is
For,
already
for
scheduled.
planning and zoning, obviously, we want recommendations of approval at every stage. Again, we're working with everyone, and we just want a favorable recommendation.
So I think Planning and Zoning Commission, if the applicant is in agreement to postpone, you can make a motion to postpone based on the applicant's request. And then if there's a second on that, then you can take a vote on it.
And it would come back to
The
planning and
next
zoning
planning and
again?
zoning meeting.
Yeah, and actually, you also, hopefully you have the benefit of having more people here next time of a full
Of a
panel,
full-
so that there's enough
Okay.
people to actually vote on
That
it.
makes sense.
Yeah, you wouldn't be stuck in there's not enough people to vote, so.
Okay. Okay. I would like to retract my motion to approve, and I would make a motion to postpone.
I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos and second by Julie Dominguez to postpone. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains?
Me abstain. I don't know if you can hear me.
Motion carried. Item number 10, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report.
I don't have anything to report. Do we have to wait for Mr. Estrada to come back in?
I'm sorry? Yes.
If you can hear me, I'm sorry. I have to go. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, she,
I don't know if
Thank you.
can hear me.
Mr. Arroyos is coming back in, so we will
Yes.
continue to have quorum.
you can't, I don't think she can leave, right? She wants to leave?
She can.
She needs to leave, but Mr. Arroyos is
Yeah,
still
if we
here.
have him come back, then we're good.
Yeah, okay.
There he is.
Okay.
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 Make a note that, no.
Item number 10, Planning and Zoning Commissioners Report.
I don't have anything. Mr. Estrada? I don't know if you want to state anything. Dominguez?
Item number 11, Planning and Zoning Department Report.
I don't have anything.
Item number 12, consider and take action on the adjournment of this meeting. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? I have a motion made by Andrew Arroyos to adjourn, second by Julie Dominguez. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstains? Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 7:36. Thank you.